I'm Savanna and this is the P620, our new PTZ camera. Today I'll be walking you through everything that comes in this box, along with what you'll need to know in order to set up your camera for the first time. Inside the box you'll find the PTZ camera, a wall mount kit, a ceiling mount kit, a privacy cover, a power adapter, a power cable, an RS-232 cable, a USB 3.0 cable, an infrared remote, and a user manual. Now this is a pan tilt zoom or PTZ camera, which means that the head of the camera can physically rotate to pan side to side. This makes it perfect for multi-person meetings, dynamic performances, and security systems. In order to support this wide range of uses, we've designed this camera with 12 different ports. I understand that it's an overwhelming number of ports, but rest assured you won't need to use all of them at once. Let's go over what each of these ports are used for so that you can figure out which ones you need to use. Before you can connect any other devices, you'll need to power the P620 using the DC 12-volt port. You'll also need to connect your camera to the network using the LAN port. Next, you'll need to connect a display device. You have three options. You can use either the HDMI, USB, or 3G SDI port. You can connect any external display to the camera using the HDMI port on the back. To use the P620 more like a webcam, connect it to your computer using the USA port. Alternatively, you can connect the P620 to a video monitor or similar device using the 3G SDI port. These 3.5mm audio jacks are for connecting external audio devices. You can plug a microphone into line in and headphones or speakers into line out. These three are serial communicators, which you can use to connect external communication devices. You can connect a Visca controller to the RS-232 in and out ports in order to control the camera from a greater distance than the IR remote control would allow. Using the RS-485 port, you can connect the camera to a central hub to create a large network of cameras that can all be controlled by one Visca controller. This final port is actually a security lock slot, which pairs with a Kensington lock to prevent theft. Now let's go over all the controls on the P620 remote. But before we begin, one thing that's important to keep in mind is that since this remote uses infrared signal, it will only work if you point it directly at the P620 camera. Once your camera is set up, you can use the red disable camera button to turn the webcam on and off. And down here you can press the mute button to mute or unmute the microphone. You can press the focus button to toggle between autofocus and manual focus. Autofocus is helpful for keeping footage in focus. Plus, it unlocks the option of using auto tracking and auto framing to keep people centered in the video feed. However, manual focus is more reliable if you want to keep one area in focus. While in autofocus, you can press this button to enable auto framing, which centers the frame over a chosen target. To select a target, press and hold the button for at least 3 seconds. Press this button while in autofocus to enable auto tracking, which automatically follows a chosen target as they move. To select a target, press and hold the button for at least 3 seconds. In manual focus mode, you can use this button to move the focal point farther from the camera. When auto tracking and auto framing are disabled, you can use the plus and minus buttons to zoom the video in or out. Press the menu button to summon the on-screen display menu. In this menu, you can adjust picture settings such as saturation, exposure, and contrast using the arrow buttons and OK button to navigate. Outside of the on-screen display menu, you can use arrow buttons to pan and tilt the camera and the OK button to reset it to its default position. Press the View Mode button to switch between different lighting modes, such as default, cloud, warm, clear, soft, and more. You can use this button to save preset positions. To create a preset, adjust the camera to your desired position, and then press the button followed by any of the numbered buttons through 6 to save your preset to that number. To recall a preset, you can press its corresponding number at any time. The numerals can be used to connect multiple cameras to one remote. And finally, you can press this button at the top to access the camera's IP address and HDMI output information. When you use your P620 camera for the first time, there are a few steps you need to follow in order to access it from your computer. First, power your P620 using the included power cable and power adapter. Then, use an HDMI cable to connect your camera to an external display. This device must be a TV, video monitor, or similar device. If you plug the HDMI cable directly into your computer at this point, it will not be recognized. Next, use an Ethernet cable to plug the P620 into a router. Once you've established a wired network connection, you'll need to open the camera's IP address. If this IP address doesn't work, go into the camera's on-screen display menu, select Connection, then check the IP address and enter that into your browser. Enter admin for both the username and password to access your camera. You'll be able to change this later on. After logging in, you'll be able to access the camera feed and make setting adjustments, including image, audio, and system settings. And that's all you need in order to get your P620 camera up and running. If you run into any issues while setting up your camera, please feel free to leave us a comment or email us at cs@nexigo.com for further support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.